Hello and welcome back to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel, where of course we're giving you all the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. We're back again today for another match preview. It's another big game. It's West Bromwich Albion versus Preston, which kicks off at 8 o'clock on Wednesday evening in the EFL Championship at the Hawthorns. We'll be talking all through that game, talking about what we can expect from both sides, predicted lineups, Championship League tables, predictions, all that jazz in today's match preview, of course. I have got a little bit of a cold, so please do bear with me as I sort of sniff my way through the video. But yeah, today's match preview is all about West Bromwich Albion versus Preston. Some big injury news for Albion, of course, in the shape of Daryl Dike. We'll be chatting about that later in today's video. But before we get into it, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you drop that subscription button a click, because we need you more than ever. We're nearly at 1,000 subscribers. We're like West Brom. We need the support as much as the Albion itself. So make sure you hit subscribe. Help get us to 1,000 subscribers. And also for this particular video, please drop your score predictions in the comments. I love reading them. Love reading your thoughts about the game. So yeah, please go ahead and drop those thoughts down below. It would be great. And we'll head straight in with this match preview for West Bromwich Albion versus Preston North End. So let's crack right on. It's West Bromwich Albion, Preston North End at the Hawthorns on Wednesday night, and another big game for Valérien Ismaël's Albion side. I mean, yeah, we look at the past few games, it's not been great, but I mean, the Peterborough result itself was a very encouraging last 20 minutes, I suppose. You know, 3 goals in that period, and nice to see Albion getting on the score sheet again and starting to sort of rack up the goals. You know, 3-0 is not a scoreline we've seen, I think, since the Bristol City game, so really nice to see us picking up those points and getting some wins on the board, and of course some goals on the board as well. But we'll start with Preston, of course, a side that we've already faced this season. It was a 1-1 draw over at Deepdale. Preston currently 15th in the Championship. They're without a win in 4 attempts currently at the moment. Managed by Ryan Lowe, of course, formerly of Plymouth. Did such a fantastic job with them, getting them up into a really stable position in League One. They're going to provide difficult opposition. I think it goes without saying. Of course, this game is a rearranged fixture. I think it was due to be played on, I think, the 29th of December, but of course now not the case, obviously due to COVID cases in the Preston camp. So yeah, I think it's a difficult time, obviously, for football clubs to plan and prepare, because obviously these games should have already been dead and buried, but of course it's now popped in between 2 fixtures for Albion, in between the Peterborough and Millwall game. But it's another chance to gain momentum on that top 2 and gain a bit of a launch towards those top 2 places. Of course, Preston have played really well this season. They've been doing a fantastic job, to be honest. And you know, at times, especially, mainly against, I meant in the game against Albion, they played really well, and I thought they deserved to win the game. But Emma Jakobsen, of course, scoring 9 goals so far this season. I can't remember who got their goal in our game. I think it could have been him, but I thought that we were particularly shocking in that game, if I'm being completely honest. But you know, Albion, of course, looking to pick up a victory and sort of gain a bit of revenge. It was actually, it was Whiteman, wasn't it? It was an edge of the area effort, from what I remember. But you know, Albion played particularly poorly that day. They didn't do the basic things well, and they in the end were made to pay for it. Of course, we remember that, you know, that was the time where Karlan Grant spent most of his time on the bench. We were starting to give Jordan Hugill starts. I mean, it seems ever such a long time ago, but Albion now, of course, after Blackburn's victory last night, 7 points away from the top 2. So yeah, Preston have done well in parts this season. Of course, not been the massive overhaul from Ryan Lowe that perhaps Preston fans would have been expecting. They're 15th in the league at the moment with 33 points. They are level on points with Millwall and Bristol City either side of them. Of course, we are facing Millwall coming up this Saturday. Preston, of course, their record goes in the league like this. It goes 26 games played, 8 wins, 9 draws and 9 losses, 29 goals scored, 33 conceded and 33 points on the board. So the 5th in the possession, 5th in the possession won in the final third stats. So they are obviously pressing the ball high up the pitch. 5th in the possession won in the final third on average. You know, Albion at the top of that list. So perhaps we could see some worthy pressing opponents to face up against at the Hawthorns this Wednesday. So, you know, they've obviously got a bit of pressing in them, and they've obviously got that sort of ability to nick the ball back high up the pitch. Obviously, I thought that Ryan Lowe were bringing a bit more possession heavy, but maybe he's seen what what sort of squad he's got to work with. He's got to work with a side that was, previously under Frankie McAvoy, I think, and obviously used to play in a different style of football. But Ryan Lowe is a completely different manager to that, and could potentially bring something a little bit different to the table. Yeah, just maybe a case of the fact that, Ryan Lowe hasn't quite got them playing the way he wants. Maybe seen the squad, seen the players, and thought better of it, and thought we'll wait until we get the right men in through the door to really have a go. But of course, their away form is pretty dire, to be honest. From what they've churned out this season, they're 5th worst in the league for away form. 13 games played, 3 wins, 3 draws, 7 losses, 11 goals scored, and 18 conceded away from home. So they're another side that's likely to come to the Hawthorns, perhaps camp out, try and pick up a point, like perhaps that side did against, against Albion. All those sides have done. It's likely that they'll come and try and pick up a point and try and sort of stay in the race for away from relegation, because they're quite far away from the relegation zone despite their league position. There's a lot of factors affecting it. I do think the manager hasn't perhaps got the style, the squad he wants to play the style he wants. But on that note, let's talk through their predicted lineup. Of course, they've got some good names in there. They've got Iversen in goal, who I think had a decent game against Albion, if I remember rightly, earlier on this season. He's likely to play a back three of Bauer, Sepp van der Berg, who's on loan from Liverpool, if you recall, young Dutch centre-back. I can't remember where they signed him from, but yeah, he's on loan at Preston at the moment. Greg Cunningham, of course, former Cardiff City, I think, interesting at centre-back as well. Right wing back, they've got Barkhausen, left wing back Rafferty, and then a midfield partnership of course, Alan Brown, who's a bit of a utility man, who has been for many years for Preston, alongside Ben Whiteman. In a centre attacking midfielder, if you like, Dan Johnson, of course, Jamaican footballer. Of course, done a really tidy player. I think a lot of fans realise, Preston, and I think Championship fans do recognise him as a bit of a threat, and perhaps want to kind of try and pick the lock in the Albion defence, which will be interesting to see. And of course, a front two of Chet Evans and Emir Riss Jakobsen. Of course, 9 goals so far this season. Their top scorer, Albion's top scorer, remember, only on 10. So, they've clearly got a bit of a goal scorer in Riss Jakobsen. But yeah, that's Preston for you. Obviously, kind of expecting them to come and try and get a point, but if they can get the possession-heavy style working at some point in the near future, potentially that could lead to some better results for Preston, and of course a bit more excitement over at Deepdale. But West Bromwich Albion, of course, 5th in the EFL Championship, just beaten Peterborough 3-0 at home, as I said. 4 point. Well, I actually wrote this before the Middlesbrough-Blackburn game. We were 4 points away from automatic promotion. We are now 7 points away from automatic promotion because, of course, Blackburn beat Middlesbrough 1-0 on the night. So, yeah, the points are, the gap is widening a little bit. But Albion in 5th place, 27 played, 12 games won, 9 draws and 6 losses, 34 scored and only 20 conceded on 45 points at the moment. We look at Harlan Grant on double figures at the moment. As I said, getting into 10 goals last week with his goal against Peterborough. We've got Dean Garner also coming sort of back into the side. Is he a player that can bring that spark for Albion? Can he bring that sort of energy into the side? Obviously, he showed it against Peterborough last week and really showed that what he could do and what he could bring to the table, and obviously showed a bit of the old Dean Garner that we saw during the 2019-20 season under Slaven Bilic, where he really connected with Mateus Pereira and started to bring a little bit more joy back to the Hawthorns with his football along with Pereira. And it was a really nice spell for Albion, that spell before Christmas, where we were launching teams out the way with our attacking football, and Dean Garner was a massive part of that, and you just hope that he can bring a bit more of that to the table. But with regards to striking options, of course, Daryl Dike now, as we've heard over the past few hours, will be out for 8 weeks at least, and that is 11 games. I mean, yeah, it's just awful for Albion. Just Albion's luck, really, to bring in the striker, pay for the striker, buy him with money rather than loan. And of course, he gets injured very, very quickly into his Albion career. It's a shame to see, and we hope that he can make a speedy recovery and be back to sort of put a bit of fire into Albion's promotion push. But yeah, it's a shame to see him gone, and shame to see him out the door and into the injury room and into the doctor's room for the next 8 weeks. But Albion are shopping for a short-term replacement, so we'll be keeping our eyes on that. And of course, the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel is where you need to be for all of those latest videos if developments do occur. So yeah, our home form, of course, the third best in the league, unbeaten, 13 games, 8 wins, 5 draws, and of course no losses. We are one of only 2 sides at home to have done that this season in the league, and that is alongside Liverpool in the entire 92 league teams. 21 goals scored, but only 6 conceded at home. So that means we've conceded 14 away from home. So that sort of highlights a little bit of an issue there for Albion. But of course, predicted 11. Ishmael has got difficult selection choices. Obviously, no option of Daryl Dike. He'd have hoped to have had him for all the games in the future coming weeks. But in goal, David Button. Back 3 of Kipre, Bartley, Matt Clark. Darnell Furlong at right wing back. Left wing back Connor Townsend, Livermore and Mowat in the midfield, and then of course I'd like to see Dean Garner get a start after his really good performance, so I'll put him at right wing, Colin Grant on the left, and I thought Callum Robinson was really good when he came on, so we'll give him a chance in the middle. So that's how we're looking. That's how we're looking in terms of a lineup. How are we looking in terms of predictions? Of course, leave yours down in the comments below. I'm going to go 1-0 Albion. I said 3-0 on the podcast, but that was before we knew anywhere near the extent of DK's injury. You thought he might be back in for the game, but maybe that was a bit too optimistic. But I'm going to go for 1-0. Of course, make sure you listen to the podcast if you haven't already, but I'll go for 1-0. I think it was a scrappy goal, probably from a corner. I'll go for Kipre, 2-2 for Kipre. That would be nice to see. But yeah, that's all we've got time for in this match preview. Make sure to drop a subscription if you're new to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. Of course, it's completely free and it gets you all the access to all of Albion's latest content here on the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. So drop a subscription, comment your thoughts below, comment your predictions, your thoughts and ideas ahead of the game, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Thank you.